Hey,
Hey, Benny boy.
how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you were just doing a little workout, so not so bad being in isolation, maybe.
Well, the sun's out, so that's something.
In England, that's kind of a rarity, so I'm calling that a win.
I mean, the workout sucked, but I'm glad I did it.
What'd you do?
We did 20 alternate kettlebell snatches from the floor to overhead.
Right.
In the first minute, so in EMOM.
Right.
Minute 1 was 20 alternate kettlebell snatches. Minute 2 was 20 goblet squats holding the kettlebell. Minute 3 was 100 skips. 5 rounds. That was acceptable. And then workout 2 was 10 press-ups, 10 air squats, 10 kettlebell swings, 10 box jump overs, which was my garden furniture table, and 10 burpees every 2 minutes. And the aim was to do 10 sets, but I realised that I suck at, my triceps suck. So I swapped the press-ups out for 10 sit-ups after the third round, which obviously takes up more time. So then I put the burpees down to 8.
Right.
Then still only did 8 sets because...
Well, because burpees...
I'm hungover and I'm just glad I did it.
I mean, burpees are working those triceps as well, so it's understandable.
Exactly. Well, it was burpees was the last exercise, and then I had about 30 seconds rest, then I was into press-ups, and after the third round, that's where I was like, this is not sustainable. I cannot do this.
I love it, though, man. At least you're trying, you know?
And then I did a 1 minute plank, 1 minute on, 1 minute off. And I was going to see how long I could go for. Then I realised I'd probably get quite bored, so I did 5 and then called it a day.
Okay.
And then I chopped down some ivy off the garden wall, so it's been productive as well.
There you go. Okay. That's what happens when you're at home all day, right?
Amazing.
Well, dude, I appreciate you you doing this with me. I just thought it'd be something fun to break up the monotony that's going on right now.
You've interrupted my Mario Kart, actually.
I've made it so the Mario Kart will take longer throughout the day. That's all I've done. So yeah, just wanted to bounce a couple questions off of you and just have some fun and catch up, really. So first of all, what's the present effect of the coronavirus on your club and where you live? So
we've just where are we today? Sunday. Yesterday, I think either Friday night or Saturday morning, our Prime Minister basically said that all sports clubs, along with other things like pubs and restaurants and bars and stuff, all needed to be closed immediately. So last week we had the changing rooms and the bar area and the squash court all locked down.
Right.
So the tennis court was still open, but it was a kind of turn up, changed, play, go home. So you're not in the club for too long or anything, but at least people could still play tennis. And then on Saturday, the Prime Minister basically shut everybody. As of yesterday, the front doors bolted basically.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And is
closed.
that all of Leamington as well?
No, so I think... although I drove into the club today to pick up my kettlebell, and it's just a bit of a ghost town. Really, it's quite eerie.
Yeah.
Just no one's around. It's weird.
Yeah, I had the same.
It's Sunday's normally a really really busy day in Remington.
I had the same in Boston, where it was just you go, rush hour just doesn't exist. You're just walking around town and there's just nobody around, and it's just crazy. It's crazy right now.
I'm finding it quite weird that everywhere's kind of I don't know, no one's really out and about, but normally when you see this kind of stuff happen in films, it's because the virus is really killing people and everybody's bed bound, but everybody's fine. Yeah. They're just not going out. It's just so weird.
Everybody's just cooped up with all this energy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
no way to expend it.
we're going to go for a walk in a minute, and it's just going to be like, if you see somebody like on the same side of the street, you're like going across the road and stuff. It just seems really strange, even though like everybody's okay. I don't know, it's bizarre. It's weird.
It's weird over here because like I feel like a large percentage of people aren't social distancing. So like I took Gus for a walk the other day in Boston and went to this park called the Fens, and there were like 200 people there. They were playing like pickup basketball games and stuff like that. And it's like I definitely think there's a large percentage of people that just aren't taking it very seriously.
I completely agree.
And it's frustrating, you know. You're like, because it's not going to stop this, and it's not going to slow it down. It's only going to make it worse and take longer. You know, if everybody just adhered to it and locked themselves inside and really did this for like 2 to 4 weeks, I feel like we could get much more on top of this very quickly. Whereas now this is going to take months on end to get to the bottom, anywhere close to controlled.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, people just they're just not taking it seriously. Like, I was going to go to the gym the other day, like just to have a stretch and stuff. Like, the gym's really clean,
right?
And Sally was just like, "Why? What? Like, just do it here."
Yeah.
Like, why would you put yourself in like a situation where you don't like deliberately be around everybody else? I was like, yeah. That's completely true. Like, why put yourself in that situation?
It's true. It's true. And honestly, you know, I'm not really worried about like us. We're quite young and healthy, but like I would feel awful. Like I came down to Charleston and I won't even see my family because I don't want to risk giving my parents, you know, something that I may or may not have.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I don't really care if I get it because I'm assuming it's not going to do anything like particularly bad to me, but I don't know who I'm passing it on to. So
exactly.
That's why I don't know.
So how does it kind of? I mean, obviously it's affected your day to day. As you said, the club's locked. So you know, kind of break down for me what the days are like at the moment. Like, what are we?
So I'm trying to like, this sounds weird, like remember what day it is, do you know what I mean? Like, so because today's Sunday, I'm like, right, today's like just relax, do whatever.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow I've got like loads of balls with me, so tomorrow I'll be stitching balls and stuff like that. But generally speaking, it's like trying not to go to the fridge and grab a beer. And trying to, I mean, the problem is like laziness, like breeds laziness, right?
Yeah.
So no one wants to be cooped up inside. It's like miserable, and then you get lazy, and then like it's even harder to motivate yourself to do anything. So I'm trying to like eat well, and I mean, like today's been quite a good day. Like we're in the process of like buying a new house.
Oh,
so we're going to go over and like go over and have a look at that today and stuff like that. That's going to like, you know, get us out and about and stuff. So yeah, like, it's weird because you've got to like try and like plan your day like ahead, don't you? Whereas normally you just take it. Well, you don't know what working's like, but
dude, trust me, I'm the master of this.
This is just normal for you.
If you need advice for this, I'm your guy. I've got this down to a science. Everybody else is social distancing. I'm like, dude, this is just real life for me. This is
yeah, exactly. I mean, like I guess it's the same for everybody. Like you're so used to the routine where you just get up and you go to work, and even though sometimes work sucks, like you do it 5-6 days a week, so. You just that's your day, and then you've got like a few hours to plan in the evening. Whereas it's quite strange having like loads of free time, but not necessarily not having anything to fill it with. But like you got loads of free time, but it feels like it's restricted because you can't really go. It's not like you can.
Yeah, it's not like I'll go train for 2 hours. You know, you can't. Yeah, you still can't do things you want to do. You're just
exactly
locked out. Yeah, I've been finding the same. I just try and like set a few things out each day that I want to do. Even if it's stupid stuff like, oh, I need to pick up some groceries, or you know, I need to go to the post office, or you know, just whatever it's going to be. I want to take Gus for a walk, or you know, you just build those things out into the day so that at least you feel like you have some stuff to do. Because if you just wake up and you're like, all right, I have literally nothing today, then like I just don't know how you can get through it like that. It's like one day is fine.
I'm pretty sure after about 6 bottles of wine last night, we inquired about a dog. So we might be getting a dog.
I will say, actually, I read this article that animal shelters were asking people to foster dogs during the quarantine. So you don't. It's
well,
you don't.
Do you know what? It's the best time. We were talking about it. It's the best time to. It's the best time to do it because obviously when you've got like if you want to get like a pet or something, obviously the initial like week or 2 weeks you shouldn't like leave it on its own because it's freaking out anyway. Like doesn't know who you are or where it is or anything like that. And I was like, well, if you're going to be locked in for the next, could be like 2 months, 3 months. What better time?
Yeah.
So just as my earnings go down to zero, I could fork out for a dog. Seems like a really sensible thing to do.
That's true. Well, that's I want to talk to you about that. Obviously, from a tennis perspective, we've court tennis has kind of been, or real tennis, been shut down. And I'm pretty worried about it because we're kind of one of those sports that relies on people having excess money, right, and travel from the pro side of things. And those seem like two of the big things that are in jeopardy right now. And not, definitely in the short term, but I think really in the long term as well. And so I was wondering kind of what your thoughts were on that. Obviously, it's a very different setup with how the English clubs work, but, kind of both from like a real tennis and the club's perspective, but also from like the pro tour side of things, how you think things are going to kind of develop here.
I reckon, that, I think the American clubs will be okay because obviously you've got like multi-sport stuff, and generally speaking, the structure, like the financial structure, I think is more like membership based, kind of like a gym, right? So people pay their monthly subscription and then they come in, and if they use it, they use it. If they don't, they don't. But generally speaking, the money kind of ticks over.
Right.
Whereas over here, you normally pay like a yearly subscription and then you pay fees like on top, because obviously most of the clubs over here are either freestanding or they are their own like separate entity and stuff like that. So I think the clubs over here are going to struggle like quite. I think it's going to be quite hard for a lot of them because even though they've got their membership fees coming in, I think a lot of them kind of rely on like the court fees coming in on top of that. So to like obviously pay the bills and stuff, but obviously depending on how the pros are like structured and paid and stuff, that's going to make a big difference. So let's say whichever way it works, like either the membership it goes to the club and the court fees that come in are used to pay the pros or whatever, and it equates to the same, or do you know what I mean, or vice versa, whatever the structure is. Court fees are obviously on hold now, so there is no court fees coming into clubs. So for like me personally, that is my earning. Like my salary at the club is zero. I'm completely self-employed, so like literally as of yesterday morning, it's a big fat zero for me. So that's tough.
Can you apply for like a unemployment type thing? I know in the U.S. the government's basically giving everybody or anybody who can't work right now unemployment. I need to do some research into it tomorrow. But like the government, they've put a few things in place for like self-employed individuals, which is going to help us. I think they've pushed so we have to pay tax over here in January and July, and I think they've pushed everybody back like a year or something. There's something. So like I've obviously got like some money set aside to pay the tax man in a couple of months, and I think they're just going to kind of let me keep that for a year or something. But yeah, I mean, from the playing side of it, like when my chairman spoke to me yesterday and was like, "We've got to close, really sorry," blah, blah, he kind of said, what does this mean for you for practice? And I kind of like laughed, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Well, you've just closed the club." So, I don't know. Not much, I guess. No practice, but I guess everybody's in the same boat. I mean, we have no tournaments, so there's nothing to practice for.
Really annoying, because I was actually going to win the US Pro this year as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a great tournament, let me tell you.
But it's not been officially cancelled yet, though, right? The USCTA have cancelled everything up to the end of May.
Up to the end of May.
It's going to go.
It's going to go. I'm amazed that they haven't pulled the trigger yet. I think I've been hearing like lots of different reports and different things from different people. Honestly, I'd be amazed if much of the fall season happens at this point. Because from all kind of reports, it's going to kind of get under control during the summer because it's warmer, and then there's going to be a resurgence in the fall. So I feel like we're so far behind on the testing and everything that by the end of summer we're going to finally have caught up, and then it's just going to hit again. And so I just, my big fear in court tennis is I just don't see how we can get to a point this year where we can safely say, yes, every pro can travel to a country for the event and people can come be in that building and watch safely.
Yeah, I was thinking about like something like the Champions Trophy at Hampton Court, and I was kind of thinking, like, in theory, you could still put like the event on. Obviously, it means people like you can't travel, so you would just turn around and say like, "There's no ranking points available," but at least it gives people some competitive tennis and some money and stuff. But I guess the difficulty is like Hampton Court Palace are going to kind of say, "Why are we going to throw this money into it if no one can come and watch, or we're not going to be able to use it as a marketing tool and stuff?" And I get that.
We aren't exactly set up to be the play in front of no crowd sport. We barely play in front of crowds as it is. So.
Well, exactly. Like, real tennis shouldn't change. Just keep going.
The British Open would be fine. It'd be great. Just play in front of the same crowds we always do.
Exactly. But it's quite strange, like, coming back from Chicago, had like a couple of weeks just to kind of like chill out and do nothing. And then I went and spoke to my trainer and I was like, right, I've got 12 weeks. This is the kind of stuff I want to like improve physically. Like I want to be a lot more flexible, so I'm doing a lot more stretching and stuff, which
it's horrible.
Sucks.
It's the worst.
But like it's got to the point where like I'm in my mid-30s now, and like I do just get injured constantly, and it's for reasons I could easily like avoid. So, and it was kind of like it's kind of interesting to have that time frame of 12 weeks. You've got the kind of the Shockett Cup like in your vision kind of thing, and then suddenly it's just gone. And I'm like, so I was seeing him the other day because luckily for me, he works out of a CrossFit gym, which, as you know, are basically empty if there's no classes. So I can still do my PT because it's just me and him. So there's just two of us in a gym basically, which is great. Unless they've had to close, I don't know. But it kind of just seems a bit pointless. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, I might not compete until next March. So
exactly.
It's strange not having like a target, I guess.
It really is. I mean, I equate it a lot to like an extended injury time, like injury leave. I don't know if you've ever had. I had like a period where I had to take like almost a year off with injury, and it's kind of what it feels like, where you're like, you don't know when you're going to be back. You're just trying to kind of maintain this balance training wise, stay healthy, stay fit-ish, but you don't want to like overdo it because you don't know if it's going to be. You don't know if you're going to be playing a tournament in 3 months or if it's going to be 9-12 months. So it's this really weird kind of in between bit at the moment. I'm hoping we'll get like more clarity over the next month or two. But yeah, man, it's tough. Like, I mean, my job's up in Boston at the end of May, so I'm back to being jobless again, relying on that tournament income, and now all of a sudden, that's not going to be there.
I mean, I've never done the kind of been injured for an extended period of time thing, so I don't really know what it's like. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of strange, kind of thinking like, oh, should I just go and like grab a beer or something? And I'm like, no, you're trying to like maintain, or you're not trying to maintain. I'm trying to like lose a little bit of weight and get a bit more flexible and stuff. And I'm like, shouldn't go and grab that beer. And then I'm like, but then
why not?
I might not be doing anything for like 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can't just, like if any, well, as you would know, the people that think that we just like train 365 days a year, like, God, even like now with the like 12-week thing leading up to the US Pro, I was going to take like at least one of the weeks off, like in the middle.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, God, I just be bored. Yeah. Like literally, by the time I got there, I was like, I'm just done. I'm just like mentally done. So
it's such a balancing act.
It's quite strange, kind of like it's quite weird. Yeah, it's just quite weird not having a target.
Well, hopefully we'll know more soon. So has anything kind of I'm not asking everybody this question, and I'm not getting any of the answers that I want from it. So I'm interested to hear what you say. Has anything positive or interesting arisen in your life from having to kind of be home and all the time and kind of control your diet, as you say, on your own, do the exercise at home, those types of things? Has anything kind of positive or interesting happened because of that so far?
The ivy that extends from my neighbour over the wall into my garden has been cut, which would not have happened if
I'll take it.
I'm clutching at straws.
No, but
that would still be there.
The idea is that the idea is just obviously, I would love to try and find a positive for everybody in this, and so mainly when I ask that question, I get quite negative feedback because it's like everybody's stuck at home, they can't work, they're not making money, or things are so easy to kind of focus on that negative. So my thought process is to try and like find something positive within this, whether it's like growing stronger in your relationship with your wife or having more time for flexibility work, anything. And that's because I feel like we're going to need that over the next few months because it's going to be so easy to just be negative with everything, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon, so I don't know what it's like over in America, but I mean, you guys freak out, so you've probably been in like lockdown for ages. Whereas over here, people they just literally don't care. So we haven't been told. We've been told like no, try not to travel unless it's essential and stuff like that. But so I would imagine that because it's all still very new and very raw, that everybody's brains immediately go to like, oh, I'm stuck at home. Whereas, I mean, give it a couple of weeks, and I bet you would get some positive answers.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up doing something productive today, like with a new house and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I do like a couple of stretching routines like every day. The difficulty is when you've got all the time in the world, it's easy to kind of like be like, oh yeah, I'll do it, and you just never get around to it, right? So I think I mean, believe it or not, I'm actually quite an organised guy, and I'm good with routine and stuff like that. So even though I'm a bit of a clown and a bit of a kind of a joker, and everyone thinks I just kind of bumble my way through life, like I don't mind routine and stuff. So I think people who are generally a bit more like disorganised will have a fight or flight situation, and they'll either just spiral into laziness and fatness because they're disorganised, or they'll actually kind of figure it out and go, right, I need to be more organised with life and plan my time a bit better and probably fill it a bit better like that. I imagine the people that like just want to go social media crazy will probably just do that, and I imagine there's going to be some absolutely hilarious memes flying around.
There's going to be some gold out there. There really is, man.
But like already you've seen like, if you go on like Instagram or whatever, you see someone's story and there's like a picture of like 8 of them all like FaceTiming at the same time, and I think like Sally's family have like a WhatsApp group, and instead of just texting each other, they're like doing voice notes instead, just to like make sure they're like actually hearing outside voices and stuff. Because I mean, God, she's going to go nuts if she just has to talk and look at me for the next 12 weeks of her life. So
it's true. It's just
any
changing.
outside voice is welcome.
Yeah. It's just changing the way society is going to work, isn't it? I mean, everybody's going to get more adept at like the video chatting, this type of stuff, because you're going to have to. Everything's going to be becoming more kind of technology based, and everybody's just going to get comfortable with it. It's awkward right now, but 8 weeks from now, when we're still in this situation, and I do this again, and I call you again, it's going to be like, oh hey, we do this all the time, like, because it's just going to become the new normal.
Exactly, video chats and FaceTimes and stuff. I just never do it, but like you say, it's going to be like a big normal thing. And also, I kind of think to myself, like, how lucky we are in this era. Imagine if this was happening like even 20 years ago, when like you had like the really basic mobile phone and there was no such thing as like video and the internet was rubbish and like stuff like that. In this day and age, we can do this. Yeah. Like you can do this all the time. People can like, they can play like computer games online and play against other people, and it's almost like if you're a bit of a hermit anyway, this is not, this is not like...
This is normal. This is
it's
just like...
life.
Yeah, you're fine.
But I think in this era, in this day and age, we're very lucky that it's so easy to communicate and see what's going on in the outside world without having to leave the house.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I think this would have really broken a lot of people.
Oh, it would have broken me easy. I don't have Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. I can only work out so many times a day. You got.
I mean, it is times like this where I wish that I lived in like a mansion that would be like, I can't get bored.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just can't get bored in this place.
Exactly.
You're going to take like 10 steams a day.
Exactly. So one of my favorite things though is that everybody's becoming super creative. Because you have to, because you're like in your own house. So like everybody's creating like in-home workouts, right? Everybody's like finding fun stuff to do with like their significant others or like all these different things. Like you say, like the video chats and groups and all of that. So I feel like we're unlocking this like creativity in everybody, and it's forced. It's in no way your choice, but you're being forced to become creative because you have to be.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it because just like scoping through the internet real quick, you're seeing like all these new kind of ideas and things just popping up because people are locked in a house and they have to figure out something to do. So, and I also read this thing about I think someone like, maybe it was Thomas Edison or one of the greatest inventors, basically came up with a lot of his inventions during a time like this where he was locked in a house during a kind of plague type scenario. So maybe we'll see some like really cool new stuff come out from it. Obviously. Well,
I mean, if you've got like loads of free time, you've got a lot of time. If you're just, if you're in like the same surroundings all the time, your mind is going to go into overdrive.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to, if you've got a gene that allows you to become nuts, I think that can happen. But like you say, like the creative gene,
right.
People's imaginations will just go into overdrive because they've got so little to do. So we could see some amazing stuff come out of it.
Well, on that note, that brings me to my final question, which is actually very relative to that. So what I'd like to know is if you have any advice for people who are obviously real tennis players, big fans of the game, stuck at home, but obviously want to improve their games. We are, even though we don't know when our tour is coming back, we don't know when any of this is, we're still actively working on our games every day in different ways. And so I'd love to know a piece of advice that you would have for anybody who's watching that is kind of at home wondering what they can do.
So I would say that generally speaking, like, people go on court and they expect, like, it doesn't matter, but, like, whether you're going on court with, like, a member who is, like, getting worse because of age or mobility or something, or a member who's just never going to get better, or, like, an up-and-coming junior or something like that, everybody generally expects to go on court and get better, like, immediately after an hour. So the fact that the court side of it is taken away, I think means that people they can't get caught in this whirlwind of, like, oh, it'll all be about court, and, like, court time will just make me better. I think people now, and I've already said this to, like, Chris Ailey, said to him, like, since he got to Leamington, like, you need to figure out what kind of player you want to be, like, what you want to do. I can help you and give you advice and say, look, that's very low percentage, you probably don't want to go down that route. But ultimately, you've got to do what you want to do. I'm not just going to tell you how to do it. So I think people have got a really good opportunity to sit down, and I'm kind of talking to, like, the people, the up-and-coming juniors who are going to get very good. You've got an opportunity now without a court where you can just sit down and go, right, let's actually just try and figure out a bit more, like, theory and what do I want to do in this situation and blah, blah, blah. And also, like we said, like, it's so easy to communicate with people. Like, if it was me, I'd just be shooting a text at somebody. Just like well, not Nick Wood, because he never replies, but like,
I'm not the only one?
Yeah, you're not the only one. God, imagine you two are probably having the same conversation from 10 years ago. But, like, right, I'm going to fire a text to, like, Tom Durack. Why not? Yeah. Like, he's got nothing else to do. He should be able to at least reply. Like, God, if anybody wants to just text me and ask me about anything,
Well, it's funny. I was actually going to put that up to kind of yet another thing to like kill some of the boredom and just the time, which is to kind of throw up on like an Instagram, just like anybody want a real tennis tip. First 5 people that respond, we'll schedule a timeout for like a 10-minute conversation, kind of like this, just to like help their games. Got a question?
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, sit down, think about what you want. Actually, sit down and like think about what you want to work on because you've got time to do it rather than just being on court all the time.
Exactly.
Thinking ahead to your next court booking in 2 days' time, whatever. Sit down, think about what you want to do. Figure out where you think you want to get better, and like bounce ideas off people. Come up with a plan, and just make sure that the beer fridge is not empty at any point.
I like that. That is great advice. That is great advice.
Crucial. I'm sure some of my best, some of my biggest revelations about my game have happened down on like the wharf in Newport.
Spent a lot of time on that wharf too. A lot of time.
The thing I'm gutted about the most is there's no podcast. There's no view from the hazards.
I was just going to ask that. Surely if you and I can obviously do it this way, you could do this exact thing and you can just turn it into an audio file instead.
Well, so here's the thing. That is definitely like on my radar, and I definitely want to do that because I don't. Even if that podcast entertains one person and makes them laugh, then it's doing its job because we just laugh.
I love them, man. I love them. I want to know. I need to know. You need to finish the court tennis robot. Like, how are we supposed to?
Exactly. There's so many aspects of the cyborg left to figure out. And actually, the next one, the next bit's going to be absolutely brilliant. But in terms of like recording it and stuff, the problem is we're not exactly like high tech. So we don't have. I mean, basically, it's Schenker's has his laptop. Right. And he just opens it, hits record, and we just talk at his laptop, and it picks us up. So I guess we would have to adapt that slightly and, set up a call and use like a microphone on the phone to record it or something instead. But
I mean, dude, genuinely, if you want to talk about it once we're done with this, I can tell you, because I'm doing the exact same thing. Like this, it's just recording my screen, and then I can do whatever I want with it afterwards. So. Yeah. Because I would love to see that continue. I think a lot of people like it, man. I know we get some good feedback from it here in the U.S. I walk around the club in Boston, you can like hear the podcast just going in the background. So
I love that. Absolutely love that. And the next bit, the cyborg's targets as well. So there's going to be some like, I've got some fantastic like names up my sleeve for that one. That's going to be a long debate.
That is going to be a long debate. That is a tough one. That is going to be
brilliant.
Can more than one person? Can a person have more than one attribute on the cyborg?
Yes, I think. Have they had already? No, I don't think they have already.
I don't think you have already. Because I thought.
No, not.
I thought Faye might be. I thought Faye might be picking up more than one.
Well, the way it kind of works is that we discuss it, and then I become the voice of reason and just tell Shenka who it is. That's basically how it happens. Although the forehand, like, he was not, like, the moment we did the podcast before,
right?
What was the one before we did backhand?
Which, by the way, how did Lockie Dukart not get at least a honourable mention?
Never saw him play. I mean, and that's why we say, like, if anybody wants to nominate people, I can't turn around and say that Frank Willis's backhand was amazing because I never saw it. But if someone did, tell me and it'll get thrown in there. But literally, when he said, like, okay, yes, the next one's forehands and blah, 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 and he hit, like, stop on the record and just goes, Steve Agona. And I'm not having anything else. And I was like, oh, right, okay.
Has that one come out yet? I missed that one. Is that the latest one, forehands?
Episode 6 is out.
Oh,
the forehand cyborg is out.
All right. Well, I was going to say it's got to be Steve Agona.
Yeah. In fact, it was actually quite funny because Steve texted us about the podcast and said something, and I was like, "Oh, you finally got your mention. Well done." Or you're only contacting us because you got voted best forehand of all time or something. And Steve's reply was, "I'm amazed it took so long." To which I was like, fair play.
Typical. Standard. So, well, Benny, I appreciate it, man. I hope you guys sort it out because I love listening. I got plenty of time, and, I'd love to see more of the cyborg. So, but, dude, I really appreciate it, man. It's good to catch up with you.
And you.
I hope you stay safe, and give my best to Sally, and good luck with the new house, man.
Give my best to wherever he is. Yeah. Talk you, buddy. Thanks for calling. Times.
Yeah, I will speak to you soon, buddy.
All right, see you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.